Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Danielle, aka Stitcherista, here on YouTube, and today is the start of a new year. It is January 1st, 2022. So I did no stitching yesterday, and I know I said I wasn't going to do a video on the weekends, but even if I come on here for like 5 minutes and read a motivational story, and we read the page for the Unfuck Yourself calendar, even if it's only a 5-minute video, right? I'm really going to strive to do a video every single day because we have to have that calendar page, right? So New Year's Eve was good. If you follow me on Instagram, I posted, we made nachos, which were delish. Oh my God. Nachos, we watched the entire season 4 of Cobra Kai, all 10 episodes. So good. They're about 35 minutes a piece. So we watched about 5 hours of TV. Yeah. And then we had s'mores. And we were in bed, I would say by 12:30. We watched the ball drop. And boy, it looked like there was a lot of people in Times Square. Holy hell. But yeah, it was a good night. We had a good time. But didn't do any stitching. And yeah, today we got up, had coffee. Bill made cinnamon rolls. He is out working on the boat doing stuff, so I got myself showered and ready, and we're having spaghetti tonight for dinner. And I need to get my journal because, so, you know, in thinking about goals and stuff like that, I was listening to Tony Robbins this morning, and he said, it's not even about having goals and willpower. It's about making progress. And I think he's really right, because I feel like if we make progress, you lose a couple of ounces or you lose a pound, you get some done on your cross stitch project, you get a book read, it's progress, right? I think that's more important for us to focus on progress. He's right, that because he said willpower will not last. If you've ever tried to do something different, I think he's right. So I set my reading goal this year. I'm challenging myself because I came so close to reading 60 books last year. I read 59. I have set my goal this year for 60 books instead of 50. So we will see. But I listened to that Jim Rohn video yesterday, and I will link it down below. But I took some notes because it's about discipline. Now, one of the things, too, that I decided to do was I'm wearing my Fitbit again that Bill got me for my birthday last year because I was on track, losing weight, doing really good until I got sick in August, and I had a cold, a pretty bad one. It wasn't COVID, but I had a cold, and it just threw me for a whole loop in my eating plan. Everything just went out the complete window. I put back on 7 pounds. Not too bad considering I had lost 30. So, okay, I've come to terms with that. And, this year for me, it's not really about saying I can't have this, I can't have that kind of thing. It's more about, number one, I really want to cut out eating at night. Unless I just drink something, drink a diet soda, drink water, drink whatever. After dinner, and if we have dessert, I really want to not be eating snacks at night. That is one thing where I need to get some progress under my belt with doing that. And then just portion sizes. Yeah, because I've tried every kind of diet under the sun, every kind of plan, every kind of. And it's like, how many times, like Joyce Meyer says, do I need to go around that same mountain before I just figure it out, right? So portion size is really, because people think, gym memberships going up this month, and then people don't do it come February. It's also, I think, about being consistent, right? Okay, so anyway, we are going to, I'm going to give you some notes that I took on Jim Rohn's video about discipline. I'm going to link it down below so you can go and listen to it because it's like 17 minutes. So he says, the core at achieving the good life is not learning how to set goals or manage your time. It's consistent self-discipline. And that could just sum up our entire lives, right? consistent self-discipline. The people that are really, really successful, like Bill kind of idolizes Elon Musk. He's like, man, he's so smart. He's so this. Obviously, Elon has had consistent self-discipline, or he wouldn't be where he is at right now, right? So habits are formed. Okay, if we don't have consistent self-discipline, results will be sporadic. And that's right. One of my biggest things that I want to accomplish this year is getting done that Fruits of Plenty sampler. I am dead fucking serious on that. My goal with that, and it's not even about setting a goal, right? But my aim, my intention is to finish a block of it a month, starting this month. I'm waiting. I'll be getting my scroll rods for it on Monday. So Monday's the 4th. So I'm going to start it on Monday. In that month, when I complete, notice your choice of words too when you say stuff to yourself. When I complete that month's block, then I get to work on something else for the rest of the month. Be it Northern Lights, because that's still a whip, or Dilly Dahlia. And in all of my videos, I'm going to have all 3 of those projects linked down below. The threads I'm using, the fabric I'm using, all of that. Because those are going to stay whips until they're done. Yep. And I can't imagine I'm going to have any more than 3 because I'm just not going to be able to finish that kind of thing. My goal, because I get to the, I try to think ahead. I try to think, how am I going to feel getting to the end of 2022 and having this big, giant, beautiful sampler? Because the people that did it in 2021, holy fucking shit. Like, it is so utterly gorgeous and beautiful. Got to do it. Now, I'm trying to think, what measures can I take in place when I come up against a roadblock or when I become bored of the project? Because that is bound to happen. What are those roadblocks in place that is going to push me forward? Not the roadblocks, but what is the solution that's going to push me forward? And I haven't quite figured that out yet. But we'll see. Okay. So Jim Rohn says, habits are formed a little bit each day, every day, every day, every day, every day. And what it does is a behavior repeated becomes burned into your brain, literally. And it's like working a groove, right? There are habits that we do every single day that are so ingrained in us. It's hard. It's like we've dug this trench, right? And if you want to change it, you have to fill that trench up. And it's not easy. It's not easy to do it. So he says you have to replace a bad habit with another habit. You can't just give up something. Like when Bill wanted to quit smoking, I said, you're going to have to replace that habit, because he would get up in the morning, go downstairs, smoke a cigarette, let the dogs out. I said, you're going to have to replace that. You're going to have to figure something out you do in the morning. Otherwise, it's never going to stick. It's just like with anything. If you're trying, like me, setting my intention of not eating late at night, well, what am I going to replace that with? Coloring? That's what I have down there. Or just getting my ass to fucking bed, right? Because I found once you get a momentum of couple of weeks, it definitely becomes easier for sure. Okay, so the rewards of discipline. Now this was pretty good that I heard him say. The rewards of discipline are great, but usually far off into the future, right? It's not immediate. The rewards of lack of discipline are immediate, but minor in comparison with the rewards of consistent self-discipline. So it's just like if your intention is to lose weight or not eat junk, eating that one cookie is the rewards are immediate in the fact that you taste the good cookie, but you have now pushed your weight loss further and further into the future. If that makes sense, right? He said, most of us choose today's pleasure rather than tomorrow's fortune. Yeah. Okay, so How to make the choice of self-discipline. He says there are 3 steps to becoming disciplined. Number 1, realizing that true discipline is not the easiest option. Absolutely. It's going to be the hardest one for sure. He said, the world we live in is designed to make the easiest things in life the most unprofitable things. And the price of discipline costs pennies, but the price of regret costs a fortune. And I don't know anyone that has gone through their life that hasn't had some kind of regret, of they wish they would have done something different. Because let's face it, the time is going to pass. This year is going to pass anyway. So why not do the work? Why not get yourself together, right? Okay, and number 2, discipline is a full-time activity. It absolutely is. You have to be steadfast, not willpower. Willpower is going to wax and wane for sure. He said discipline is a set of standards that we employ as a code of conduct. And Tony Robbins ascribes to this too. He says you have to set higher standards for yourself. Yeah. And number 3, for every disciplined effort, there is a multiple reward, meaning we reap what we sow. Yeah, that made perfect sense. He says, don't let things deteriorate so drastically that someone else has to impose discipline on you, as in jail, the police, getting fired from a job, being put in the hospital because you don't take care of your health, your spouse wanting to divorce you because you become a fucking asshole and you don't invest in your marriage or your relationship, or even getting to the point where you have to be put physically into rehab for something, alcohol, drugs, something like that. Don't let things deteriorate so much into your life that someone else has to impose that discipline for you. And this was what he ended with, and I really thought about this yesterday. He says, all of our lives, every single person's life, all of us, are going to serve as a warning or an example. And which one do you want to be? So if your life serves as a warning, it is the consequences of neglect and lack of direction and ambition. And I like the phrase, I've always said this when Bill and I have been talking about someone, you're no place going nowhere. And that comes from the movie Saturday Night Fever with John Travolta. He kind of sort of dates this woman that is much older than him at the end of the movie. And that's what she says to him. You're no place going nowhere. And that always just stuck in my head, right? Or do you want your life to be an example, which is an example of talent put to use? So which one do you want to be? All right. So we are going to start today with the desk calendar that Sandra got me. It is based on the book by Gary John Bishop called Unfuck Yourself. And it says, get out of your head and into your life. So it looks like on the weekends, there are just ones, because like this applies for Saturday and Sunday. And so here is what he says. You are a fucking miracle of being, and it's finally time for you to start acting like one. So do the work. I love that. We are all valuable and worthy, and so we need to start acting like it. We need to start treating ourselves like that, right? Okay, so remember I said I was going to like lay off the true crime for the most part, and try to read motivational, uplifting stories. So today's story is called The Story of the Window. 2 men, both seriously ill, occupied the same hospital room. One man was allowed to sit up in his bed for an hour a day to drain the fluids from his lungs. His bed was next to the room's only window. The other man had to spend all his time flat on his back. So that's horrible. The men talked for hours on end. They spoke of their wives and families, their homes, their jobs, their involvement in the military service where they had been on vacation. I mean, You got time to kill when you're in that situation, right? And every afternoon, when the man in the bed next to the window could sit up, remember he's got an hour, he would pass the time by describing to his roommate all the things he could see outside the window. The man in the other bed would live for those 1 hour periods where his world would be broadened and enlivened by all the activity and color of the outside world. The window overlooked a park with a lovely lake, the man had said. Ducks and swans played on the water while children sailed their model boats. Lovers walked arm in arm amid flowers of every color of the rainbow. Grand old trees graced the landscape, and a fine view of the city skyline could be seen in the distance. As the man by the window described all this in exquisite detail, the man on the other side of the room would close his eyes and imagine the picturesque scene. One warm afternoon, the man by the window described a parade passing by. Although the other man could not hear the band, he could see it in his mind's eye as the gentleman by the window portrayed it with descriptive words. Unexpectedly, an alien thought entered his head. Why should I have all the pleasure of seeing everything? Why should he have all the pleasure of seeing everything while I never get to see anything? It didn't seem fair, right? As the thought fermented, the man started to he felt ashamed at first. But as the days passed and he missed seeing more sights, his envy eroded into resentment, and it soon turned him sour. He began to brood and found himself unable to sleep. He's thinking he should be by that window, and that thought now controlled his life. So late one night, as he lay staring at the ceiling, the man by the window began to cough. He was choking on the fluid in his lungs. The other man watched in the dimly lit room as the struggling man by the window groped for the button to call for help. Listening from across the room, he never moved, never pushed his own button, which would have brought the nurse running. So he could have helped this guy, right? In less than 5 minutes, the coughing and choking stopped, along with the sound of breathing. Now there was only silence, deathly silence. So the guy passes, okay? The following morning, the day nurse arrived to bring water for their baths. When she found the lifeless body of the man by the window, she was saddened and called the hospital attendant to take it away. No words, no fuss. As soon as it seemed appropriate, the man asked if he could be moved next to the window. The nurse was happy to make the switch, and after making sure he was comfortable, she left him alone. Slowly, painfully, he propped himself up on one elbow to take his first look. Finally, he would have the joy of seeing it all himself. He strained to slowly turn to look out the window beside the bed. It faced a blank wall. So there was no window. Or the window faced a blank wall outside. So, bet he was shocked as fuck, right? Yeah. So the moral of the story, because there's a moral to all of these, which is fantastic. The pursuit of happiness is a matter of choice. It is a positive attitude we consciously choose to express. It is not a gift that gets delivered to our doorstep each morning, nor does it come through the window. And I am certain that our circumstances are just a small part of what makes us joyful. If we wait for them to get just right, we will never find lasting joy. The pursuit of happiness is an inward journey. Our minds are like programs awaiting the code that will determine behaviors, like bank vaults awaiting our deposits. If we regularly deposit positive, encouraging, and uplifting thoughts, if we continue to bite our lips just before we begin to grumble and complain, if we shoot down that seemingly harmless negative thought as it germinates, we will find that there is much to rejoice about. So that guy took it upon himself, the guy that died, took it upon himself to bring some joy to that other man. And the other man being selfish, right? Because ultimately he was. When the guy was choking to death, he was like, well, I'm not going to help him because he gets all by the window, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah. So I like that story. That was good. So I hope you enjoyed that inspirational story, and we will read one every single day because I found a bunch of them on Kindle Unlimited. There's a couple books about short stories about success and happiness, and I'm hoping that these will, you know, inspire us to go through our day and try to complain a little less, be a little kinder, you know. So, as always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.